Everything felt normal until something strange happened. Suddenly, his live stream chat blew up. People were all sending the same creepy message. Run, get out now. At first, Li Wei thought it was just a joke. Maybe his fans were trying to scare him for fun, but then his phone buzzed. It was a real emergency alert from the National Disaster Agency. Seconds later, a loud crash echoed from outside, followed by screams coming from downstairs. Li Wei jumped up and ran to the balcony. What he saw made his heart sink. The street outside was a complete mess. People were running in all directions, shouting and crying. A fire truck had crashed into a building, and in the middle of the road, someone was attacking another person and biting them. Li Wei froze. He didn't understand what was happening. Just then, he saw something worse. A woman ran out of her apartment holding a kitchen knife, trying to protect her daughter. But when she got close, the daughter suddenly turned wild and bit her own mother. Li Wei backed away from the balcony, confused and scared. Suddenly, there was a loud knock and banging at his door. He looked through the peephole. Strangely, the hallway looked quiet again. Nothing outside seemed wrong. Feeling unsure, Li Wei slowly opened the door just a bit, and right away, a man pushed his way inside. Li Wei stepped back in shock. It was his neighbor, Zhang Hao. They weren't really friends, just nodded at each other when passing by. Zhang Hao looked terrified. Please, he begged, let me use your bathroom. I'll leave right after, I promise. Li Wei didn't know what else to do, so he nodded and let him in. Then he turned on the TV, hoping to find out what was going on. That's when he heard the truth. A strange virus had broken out. It was spreading fast and turning people into zombie-like monsters. Anyone who got bitten would turn into one too. Li Wei's eyes widened. He glanced at Zhang Hao, then remembered the blood on his clothes. Without making a sound, he picked up a kitchen knife. A minute later, Zhang Hao came out of the bathroom. Li Wei told him to leave. Zhang Hao said he was fine. But then, right in front of him, his eyes turned blood red. Zhang Hao suddenly charged. Li Wei, running on pure fear, pushed him with everything he had. He barely managed to shove him out the door and slam it shut. But the noise had already attracted something worse. Li Wei looked outside again and saw a huge zombie attack Zhang Hao, pinning him to the ground. Li Wei stood there, frozen in fear. He didn't even move. Once the zombie left, he rushed to drag the refrigerator in front of the door to block it. He called his parents right away, but no one answered. A few minutes later, his mom sent a text. We're safe, stay inside, don't go out, wait for rescue. As night came, Li Wei checked his food supply. There wasn't much left. He split it into 7 small portions, but then changed his mind. He made it 9. No one knew how long this nightmare would last. The next morning, Li Wei woke up hungry and tired. He barely slept. Every little sound outside kept him on edge. He turned on the news again, hoping for good news, but it was only getting worse. The virus was spreading all over the city. He needed something to take his mind off everything. So he sat down and started playing his game again, just to feel normal. But right after he logged in, the server disconnected. Li Wei stared at the screen in silence. Even the game servers were going down. Now he really felt alone. With nothing else to do, he went to sleep early. But around 2:30 in the morning, strange noises woke him up. He froze and listened. Something was happening downstairs. Carefully, he peeked outside, and a bullet flew right past his head. Down below, a female police officer was in a brutal fight against a group of zombies. She was tough, using everything she had to fight them off. But the gunshots only brought more of them. Even worse, she ran out of bullets. As she tried to reload, one of the zombies grabbed her and slammed her to the ground. Others rushed in and pinned her down. In a moment of total fear, she raised her gun to her own head. But at the last second, she couldn't do it. 2 zombies grabbed her arms and dragged her into the dark parking garage. Li Wei watched it all from above. His hands were shaking. He couldn't take it anymore. He ran to the window and shouted, hoping to distract the zombies and help her escape. But it was too late. And now he had a bigger problem. The noise he made had attracted something far worse. With a loud bang, the refrigerator blocking his front door shook violently. Something was outside, trying to break in. Li Wei panicked. He rushed to push the fridge back, but whatever was out there was too strong. Just when it looked like the door would burst open, he had an idea. The zombies weren't smart. Maybe he could trick it. He climbed over his balcony railing and held on tight, dangling outside the building. The zombie burst through the door, but didn't see him. It charged forward and fell right off the high rise. Li Wei pulled himself back up, gasping for air. He had survived. But when he looked across the street, his heart broke. The brave police officer from earlier, she was now a zombie. After that, everything changed. Li Wei stopped caring about surviving. He drank some of his dad's old wine, ate whatever food he had left, slept when he felt like it, and cried when the silence got too heavy. But peace didn't last long. Soon his food ran out. Then something unbelievable happened. He received a voice message from his mom. His hands trembled as he tried to play it, but the signal was too weak. It wouldn't load. Desperate, Li Wei did something crazy. He climbed out the window, phone in hand, trying to find a better signal. Finally, it connected, but what he heard destroyed him. The message was full of screams. His parents were being attacked by zombies. Li Wei dropped to his knees. He knew what that meant. His parents were gone. All the sadness and pain exploded inside him. He couldn't take it anymore. He didn't want to live. But instead of giving up quietly, he made a choice. He opened the front door, picked up a baseball bat, and walked outside. He screamed, he hit things, he made as much noise as possible. He wanted the zombies to come. And they did. A huge group came running toward him. Li Wei thought he was ready to die, but his body didn't agree. He ran fast, but there were more zombies on the other side. He pressed the elevator button in a panic. But then, the zombies came charging in. Li Wei dove behind a pile of junk, holding his breath. Somehow they missed him. When they were gone, he sprinted back to his apartment. Right as he closed the door, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned around. It was a zombie, but this one was blind. It didn't see him. He slowly backed away and shut the door. Outside, more zombies gathered. Some of them even tried to open the door, like they remembered being human. Thankfully, they gave up and wandered off. That night, Li Wei stared at the ceiling, wondering if this nightmare would ever end. But as he looked out across the city, he saw something he didn't expect. A red light blinking from the building across the street. He focused his eyes. Someone was standing in the window. A girl. She looked right at him and pointed. Then, with a disgusted look, mouthed, "Idiot." But Li Wei didn't feel insulted. For the first time in days, he smiled. She waved at him, then used hand signs to say, "Let's talk tomorrow at 7." Then they both went back into their rooms. The next morning, they waved again. She held up a sign with her name, Mei Lin. Li Wei smiled and wrote his name too. But by now, Li Wei had gone a whole day without food. His stomach growled. Mei Lin noticed and held up a finger like she had an idea. She tied a string to a baseball and tried to throw it across, but it wasn't far enough. Li Wei understood right away. He tied the string to his drone and flew it across to her window. It worked. A few minutes later, he pulled the string back, and there was a food package tied to it. He couldn't believe it. Real food. He ate quickly, but just as he was enjoying his first decent meal in days, something terrible happened. A zombie had noticed the string. It was a firefighter, one that still had some climbing skills from his past life. Li Wei shouted a warning as Mei Lin rushed to untie the string, but the zombie yanked it hard, smashing a table into Mei Lin and knocking her out. Li Wei panicked. The zombie started climbing her building. He grabbed a bottle and threw it. The zombie ignored it, so he flew his drone at the creature's head. At first it worked, but then the zombie swatted it down. It was almost at her window, but just in time, Mei Lin woke up. Heavy rain started to fall that evening. Both Li Wei and Mei Lin rushed to place buckets and bowls outside their windows to collect water. Afterward, Mei Lin pulled out a pair of binoculars and scanned the nearby buildings. She noticed something interesting. The 8th floor of the building next door looked completely clear, no zombies. It could be their way out, but there was a problem. Their food was running out fast. If they stayed in their apartments much longer, they'd starve. So that night, Li Wei made a decision. He wrapped towels around his feet to move silently, picked up his baseball bat, and stepped out of his apartment for the first time in days. The hallway was dark and cold. As he walked, he found a dead neighbor lying near a door. A ring of keys was in his hand. Li Wei grabbed the keys and unlocked the door. Inside, everything was quiet, but on the floor was another body. To be safe, he threw a shoe at it, no reaction. He breathed out and began searching the place. The fridge smelled terrible, but inside he found canned food and bottled drinks. In the next room, near the body, he found even more supplies and 2 walkie-talkies. Just when he was about to leave, his curiosity got the better of him. He leaned down to look at the body more closely. Big mistake. A zombie jumped out from behind and attacked. Li Wei used the body as a shield, blocked the hit, and ran full speed down the hall. He burst back into his apartment and slammed the door shut. That night, he ate better than he had in days. Then he packed up half the food and one of the walkie-talkies, tied it to the string, and sent it over to Mei Lin. The next morning, he turned on the walkie-talkie. "Thank you," Mei Lin's voice crackled through. Just hearing another human voice made Li Wei feel alive again. From then on, they spoke every day, shared stories, laughed a little. They kept each other sane. But during one of their chats, they heard something strange. It sounded like rain. Li Wei rushed to the window to collect more water, but when he opened it, he froze. It wasn't rain. It was zombie footsteps. For some reason, the undead were in a frenzy. They were rushing into every building. Both of them dropped to the floor, not daring to make a sound. But as Mei Lin reached for her axe, she accidentally knocked over a small shelf. The zombies turned toward her door. Li Wei whispered, "What's your apartment number?" She told him. Then, as the zombies got closer to her door, a phone started ringing in the next apartment. The zombies turned and followed the sound. Li Wei had called the neighbor's phone to distract them. It worked, but now the zombies were everywhere, and time was running out. They decided to move to the 8th floor of the nearby building, the one that looked clear. Mei Lin quickly tied the rope between their balconies, but before Li Wei could stop her, she jumped. She landed hard, and the noise brought zombies from all directions. But Mei Lin wasn't weak. She pulled out a climbing pick and fought her way through them. Li Wei watched from above, shocked. Then one zombie tackled her. Just when it looked like she was done for, Li Wei made it down and smashed the zombie with his bat. He helped her up, and together they ran into the building's stairwell. They blocked the glass door behind them, but it wouldn't hold for long. Luckily, the elevator still worked. They rode it up to the 8th floor, holding their breath the whole way. When the doors opened, it was quiet. They started checking each apartment. Suddenly, a zombie appeared. More came charging from the stairs. Mei Lin tried every door, hoping one would open. Finally, one did. A hand reached out and pulled her inside. Then a smoke grenade rolled into the hall. A man stepped out and grabbed Li Wei too. They were safe, for now. Inside, the man offered them water. They hesitated, but he drank it first. Only then did they take a sip. Then he brought out food. They were starving, they ate like wolves. While they ate, the man smiled and said, "Good news. I heard on the radio. Rescue is coming." Hope filled their hearts. But then Mei Lin looked around. Something felt wrong. None of the family photos on the walls matched the man. Just as she was about to say something, Li Wei collapsed. A few seconds later, Mei Lin felt dizzy too. The man dragged Mei Lin into a back room. When she woke up, she was tied up. In front of her was a female zombie. The man looked at her and said softly, "She's my wife. I couldn't let her starve." He had been feeding his zombie wife with survivors. Slowly loosened the rope holding the zombie. Just then, Li Wei woke up and saw what was happening. He grabbed a gun and aimed it. The man smiled sadly and let go of the rope. Li Wei tried to grab it, but the zombie was too strong. She broke free. Li Wei ran to the door. It was locked. A scream echoed from the room. Then silence. The man opened the door. The zombie jumped on him and bit his neck. Mei Lin had survived. She'd covered the zombie's head with a pillow. Seeing the man still trying to hug his zombie wife, she couldn't take it. She pulled the trigger. The gunshot echoed through the building. Zombies heard it. They came rushing in. Mei Lin and Li Wei looked at each other and nodded. They raised their weapons, ready to fight to the end. But then a helicopter. They ran to the window. A rescue team was flying in. The two of them made a break for it, dodging zombies down the hallway. Li Wei knocked over a bike to slow them down. They made it to the rooftop. Zombies slammed into the door behind them. Just as it broke open, the helicopter opened fire. Zombies dropped one by one. The two were pulled into the aircraft. As they flew away, they looked down at the ruined city. And just then, the radio tower turned back on. Across the internet, more survivors began sending out SOS signals. Because even in the darkest moments, as long as you're alive, there's still hope. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more intense movie breakdowns, and don't forget to stay alive.